This is my race trailer. It's messy, it's not organized, but it gets me to the races. Still got upgrades to make, a lot of them. But here's everything in it right now. Let's walk through it. So the trailer itself, I got from Charlie and Son Sales and Service up in Madison, Maine. It was actually recommended by a lot of people on social media. I reached out because I didn't know what dealership I wanted to go to, and more importantly, wanted to start a relationship with in terms of where I was going to get my trailers from. Charles has been great to work with. It's an 8.5 wide by 24 foot long car hauler. So specifically designed just for cars to be hauled in it, LOL. And the reason being why I went with this design over the not generic, but typical snowmobile trailers is I wanted as much space as possible on the inside because this was gonna be my workshop. And then also when I'm at race sites, locations, or I'm out testing, I wanna be able to have everything with me and have a warm, comfortable space to wrench on sleds. I can easily fit 3 sleds in here. It's tight with 4. It's a torsion spring dual axle. I was recommended by a lot of people to go with torsion springs rather than leaf springs, just because this is an aluminum trailer and the torsion springs are a lot more forgiving. There's a lot of times where I only have 1 sled in this massive trailer, so there's not a ton of weight, and those torsion springs allow the trailer to move really nicely on the super rough roads that we have here in Maine. A lot of frost heaves. I bought this thing bare bones, so nothing inside of it, just some wiring and a few dome lights. Let's check out a bunch of stuff on the exterior here before we go inside, which I actually have 3 sleds in there right now, so I'll have to get them out just so I have plenty of space to show you guys everything that I got going on with this trailer. Here's the electric jack that I just got from Harbor Freight and installed today. I have to upgrade how the wiring is going to be routed inside. I just have electrical tape and zip ties on it right now. Definitely not very long lasting or weatherproof, but this is just enough so that the thing works for the summer. The oil one started to really wear out. There's no like grease ports or anything because it is oil, and got really rusty on the inside. I'm excited to see how this thing goes this winter. So far, it works really well. It's pretty cool. Like, it's quiet. It's like surprisingly quiet, which is cool. With the old jack, it was nice to get my workout in spinning that thing around when I'd get to race sites, or when I'd bring this home, the trailer home after a really long race day or testing day. There is a window that was installed by Buddy Collins of Installations Unlimited. They actually insulated and did closed foam underneath the trailer, as well as insulated and finished the inside. This window has been a really cool add. It opens, so I had some ventilation if sled's firing in there. It's just more airflow, you know, open all the doors and whatnot on top of having a window. And then it's nice to just have a little bit of light come in. It's not just a dark enclosed cave inside. Even this thing's tiny, but it lets in a ton of light. Like even, or actually I'll show you. So just standing in here, no lights on, and this is how much light that tiny window is bringing into this entire space. Really, really cool. And it was a nice to have at races because I could just kind of like look through it if it wasn't super fogged up or frozen. And also it was nice too to be able to see if anyone was outside the door, so I don't just swing the door open and smoke someone who might be standing out there. Oh, here's the window from the inside. It has this little pinch thing. You can slide it down. It has a screen so no critters can get in. This thing's really nice. And it fits really nice too. Installed. Buddy did a great job with that. Underneath here is closed cell foam insulation, and this honestly wasn't even my idea. Buddy mentioned that I should do it. He's done it to a ton of his trailers, and they've lasted for years, like 10 years with no issues whatsoever. I've had no issues with the insulation. I had some people kind of rag on the idea that the whole underneath was insulated. It was gonna get wet and soak up a lot of water and add a ton of weight to the trailer, but it's closed cell. They're insulation experts. They offered to do it. I listened to them, let them do it. And I did notice the trailer stayed significantly warmer lower in the trailer. I have spent years in a trailer that was uninsulated, and we even used propane heating, and there was like halfway up in the trailer it was warm, and then literally you like sat down in a chair and it was 30 degrees colder. I didn't notice that one bit in this trailer. I have a shore power like RV plug. It's a 2-prong that goes inside. One of them is used to trickle charge the battery that's inside, and the second one is to power a power strip, so I can have tools and any other accessories like phones and cameras and stuff charging. I installed this myself. It was super scary, drilling a 2-inch hole through the side of my brand new trailer, but I got over it real quick when this thing is honestly one of the most functional parts about this trailer. What we'll do is empty the trailer out and we'll go over to the inside, and I'll start from this part of the trailer and then move throughout and chat with you guys about everything that's inside. One of my favorite features of this trailer is the hinge to this gate. It's flush with the door, the tongue here. What a cool design. It makes it so nice to have a nice flush transition so the sleds can just easily go right on. Okay, I'm keeping it very real with you guys. I have not cleaned up one bit in here. I've swept a little bit since the snowmobile season ended and, you know, put some tools away and taken some gear out and whatnot. But for the most part, like, this is as real as it gets for this trailer. But let's dive over to the electrical corner and we'll go from that AC shore plug and continue on. The inside of where that shore plug is coming from, and as you can see here, it circles all the way around to the corner, and the 2 plugs here, one of them goes through and up to this power strip right here, also Harbor Freight Special, and then this Noco Genius Gen Pro 10X1, which is a trickle charger that's going down into a 12-volt battery that I have stored in this container here. This is an absolute mess. I'm not an electrician. I'm not a wiring expert. I did the best I can with what I knew and what I could do. All these wires. Oh! This definitely could be cleaned up a little bit more, and it's going to be. There's some loose wires here still. I haven't tidied them up from installing the electric jack outside. I will end up getting to that at some point. Some details in the corner here. I added a RV specific like power shutoff. So all I need to do is just turn this dial and everything shuts off. It will continue to keep charging, but it won't send power anywhere. One thing that I regret from this is skimping out on the wiring. It's like the thinnest gauge wiring designed for like sound systems, and when the power gets low on this, it has a hard time sending, you know, a current through a pretty lengthy amount of wiring. So I have 2 diesel heaters in here, one up front and one in the rear, and their power goes up all the way down and then down to the back diesel heater near the main door. And there's been times where only the front one works and the rear one throws a code because it's not getting enough of a current. You can see the inside is finished. There's really thin plywood on the walls and the ceiling. There's original silver trim up on the edges, and Buddy ended up finding or having some extra black trim that looked really nice, and he ended up painting that back top cap as well because it was just, you know, silver aluminum. But there's just foam board insulation on the walls and the ceiling. You definitely can tell it's been used. I've got handprints and marks and scuffs everywhere. When this thing was brand new, it was beautiful. It looked like a high-end studio apartment in my opinion. Black deck paint for the floors. They're wood. They definitely got scuffed up and beat up. I don't see the floors lasting much longer, or at least for 1 or 2 more seasons. So I plan on getting some flooring in this summer, just some rubber horse stall mats that I'll, you know, have like partially epoxied and screwed in. Overall though, the all white definitely brights it up in here quite a bit more. I gotta open this back door because it is getting swelteringly hot in here because this is insulated, so it's holding heat quite well. Hopefully I'll get a current through, keep me cool during this video. We'll dive right into the diesel heaters. This is a recommendation from a lot of people. Vevor Chinese diesel heaters. I got these off Amazon. They're 8 kilowatt heaters with 1 gallon tanks built into them. You just open this cap up here and you can run any kind of diesel you want in here. Installed the front one first and then had the second one installed because the back door was getting a lot of frost buildup and it was becoming a pain of like having to always break the ice up. Sled's bringing in a lot of snow, it melts, the trailer's tipped so everything goes to the rear, and then it can build up in the door if it's closed and then freeze. And also you can superheat the trailer with 2 heaters very quickly. I think I got it from 3 degrees to 60 degrees in like 45 minutes. I can go a whole race weekend with 2 gallons, so each of these filled, and then 5-gallon can, and I can last a whole weekend and have extra diesel left over. I've seen people have them on the wall and then go out the side or up high and have them vent down low, all sorts of stuff. I went with this because it was mainly the most simple. It's sitting right on the floor, it's going out the bottom. Recommended from someone on social media to keep the air filter inside. I had it originally going outside on the front one, and someone was like, oh, that'll get a lot of debris in it, cause error codes, and it could eventually ruin the heater. Fellow racer of mine in the North Star Cross Country Race Series, Dylan Thompson, is a welder. He quickly knocked out these plates that have 2 holes in them, one for the exhaust, one for the air filter, and you just would drill holes, put the plate down, and it kind of helps keep heat from, you know, burning the wood floors, and also you can use them as templates. So it's super easy to drill out and install these. Let's go and dive underneath the trailer. I'll show you how the whole exhaust system outside works. And honestly, I haven't looked at it yet since the end of the season, so we'll see how rusty it is. Yeah, not looking too good to start. Rust right there. So here's underneath the rear one, and the sock on here comes with the kit. Basically everything I used comes with the kit, like even the clamp, kind of rigged with the hardware that they provided. Drilled a hole here and then kind of fixed the whole muffler system to the trailer. This doesn't look like it's gonna last. It's super rusty. Maybe I'll try and find like some stainless steel option to replace this with going into next season. But overall, very happy with how this looked. Nothing too crazy, and the socks held up quite nice as well. But I used a 2-inch hole saw bit and drilled from the inside out, and then use kind of like a saw or something. I have the whole thing recorded. If you guys want me to do a video on how I installed those diesel heaters, let me know in the comments. I couldn't find a video on how to install diesel heaters, and I recorded the whole process. I just haven't made a video on it yet. So I have the footage. I can go through all of it if you guys want. It's not really gonna be a how-to or a tutorial, but it's just gonna be how I did it, and maybe it can give you some guidance and comfort and confidence in doing it yourself. I had 0 confidence going into it, and I somehow managed to make it work, so you absolutely can do it. Let's go take a look at the front one. Okay, here's the front one. Doesn't look too bad, looks about the same. That looks like it bent a little bit. I wonder if I hit it off something. Yeah, the bolt looks a little bent. Yikes. Rusting. This was the first one that I installed, and I was very happy with how it worked out. You can see this extra foam that was cut here. That was for the intake, because I had the intake running out and then just like bolted somewhere here, and then ended up sealing it back up with the foam that I had cut out and like glued it in there. I was nervous about putting the rear one in, especially with the exhaust going out the bottom, because that's where a lot of, you know, the spray from the tires goes, salt and snow. I will get some like snow flaps or something, like a flap to hang down, or maybe put like a metal guard or something to make it last longer. The exhaust pipe looks good, it's just the mounting looks terrible. Back to the inside, let's stare at some lights. So I found these LED lights off of Amazon. I found a video of a motocross guy who really liked these lights, and he actually had a video on basically how he installed them. Had the idea of branching power off the main dome lights just so I didn't have to get rid of these. I can have as much light as possible. These things were not enough to brighten up this space. The idea was to have 2 additional ones for every dome light, but these took forever to install. So I only did the rear and the ones in the front, and it provided enough light. I'm definitely gonna install the lights for the middle ones for this upcoming season. Some mistakes of mine. Oh my goodness, how do we even begin talking about this? I needed to splice the wiring staggered so they would fit in these kind of like cable wiring housing things, and I'll show you in the front. Split these wires, but they're right next to each other, so they don't fit in the housing. And so I have to cut these, rewire them with better housing. Here you can see the strip wire cable housing hider stuff. It's white. I got them white to match the ceiling. These are just, you know, designed for home use to hide cables that you have for your TV or an office area. And I installed or split the wires correctly by having them staggered so they would fit in this like tiny little strip. This actually honestly came out really good. I'm kind of disappointed in these lights. I wish they were brighter. If I could go back and buy different lights, I would go for stupidly bright lights. In my opinion, you really can't have it too bright in here. I was nervous it was gonna be too bright in here, and so why I was okay with getting these like cheaper ones. No, I wish they were like super bright. I need as much light in here as possible when working on sleds. I found E-tracks that were in black to kind of match the black trim theme here. I did some research. A lot of, oh, the screw's coming out. That's hilarious. I gotta tighten that up. There's a lot of guys that rely solely on E-track to, you know, keep things strapped down, and I totally get it. These are super helpful. I'd have my gas cans here and put a bungee through them to keep them from bouncing around, and they're right next to the door too, which is super convenient. So when I'm fueling up, they're right next to the door and I can grab them, fill them up, put them back in. I put them in as strategic places as possible where I thought I was gonna be needing tables eventually, or tools or equipment that I'll just need stored in certain areas. We'll just keep building this thing out and maybe I'll be moving these around, but so far they've worked. Once I start adding upgrades to this trailer where I do want, you know, like fold down tables and a fixed table in the front, these will probably end up moving, but for the most part, they did a really good job. So this space over here, it's kind of weird. It's not really like a space, but I just put these two E-track hooks so I could run a bungee around my lift-a-sled that has been essential for me at race locations. It takes up some space. It's a bit, you know, clunky. It fits against the wall nicely, but you know, when I've got this trailer full of sleds, it feels weird. And then also, you know, it's kind of scuffing up my wall quite a bit too. So I definitely need to figure out a different mounting system. I had hooks originally up here, but they ended up like folding down on a massive bump that I hit, a big frost heave on the way to a race. So it ended up just finding its way to the floor, and I would put a bungee around it. I have my random magnetic strip here because when I'm at race locations, that Craftsman ends up getting rolled over here because I like to work more towards the back of the trailer. And I had the front of the trailer open for tables to have food or chairs folded out so people could warm up. And then back here, I had available more for space to work on sleds. I got these tiny little mounts here at like Lowe's or Home Depot. So I have my designated shovel and broom here. These have been super convenient. Had them more towards the back just because I was sweeping up the door for snow, or in this case dirt. And then I have my shovel mount, you know, if I need to clean out a snowbank or something at race location. Charles was super nice to give me these nitro themed like aluminum brackets that I bolted to the wall here strategically width-wise so I could put all my bungees on it. These are like Walmart special bungees, but they have been an absolute lifesaver. Holding everything down, I'll just come over here, grab one, toss it on something to make sure it doesn't bounce around. I really like this setup. It looks really cool. It's very neat and organized. I was very proud of this when I put it up first, put all my bungees on it, and I was like, wow, I'm organized. I'm not really organized. My buddy Rooster helped me at the first race in Presque Isle, and we had to keep the door up because I didn't have a way to keep the space insulated. It felt weird. It felt weird having the rear up. He recognized that. Ended up finding on Amazon these garage door insulation like fold up things. You install Velcro on the tops and on the sides. It folds right down, kind of like stick it to the walls. You got two of them. It's got a magnet strip in the middle, which is super nice. I looked at like the custom ones of these, the plastic like refrigerant strips. very expensive, like $400 or more. I think this was 80 bucks. Hands down, a lifesaver in keeping this place warm, but also super accessible. Because of the plastic, the clear plastic, it lets in a ton of light. Like that was game changer. The first race working in here was so dark. Even that little window, it just wasn't enough. It felt very enclosed. You can already tell the slight current that's coming through here that it's not perfect. The spec on this is 8 feet wide and the width of the trailer is 8.5. So that half inch makes it really hard for this to stay kind of sealed up. I'll get the edges to seal up with the Velcro, but as soon as I get that good and tight, the middle gets a little stretched and will break open easily, even like on the slightest wind gust. I recommend, if you have an 8.5 foot wide trailer, go with, like, if you can find a 9 foot one. It's gonna have a lot of excess material. It might flap a bit in the wind. It's gonna actually stay closed. Like, I'm telling you, the slightest wind gust at the track will come through and this thing will just flap wide open. Another Amazon special, I'll be honest, I don't think I used this at all during the cross-country race season. I had like paper towels stored on it, but for some reason, the design of this thing, like when I would commute to places, it would just unravel. So I'd come in here and the whole roll of paper towels would be unraveled, and I'd be like, ugh. I tried using like mini bungees to keep it from loosening up, kind of a losing battle. And I've got some fluids up here that I occasionally use on race days, but for the most part, I just never found a use for it. I had fold-out tables I would use, so I never used the little table. And then for some reason, near the end of the season, actually when cross-country race season was over, I loved using this thing. So I'm not sure what it was. Maybe I was just like too busy and hectic to actually just stop and utilize this thing. It was kind of weird, but I'm using it now. The little fold-out table here is nice. They offered like a chrome one and a black one off of Amazon, so I went with the black one. So Extreme Max Products is the name. There's some design flaws on this that I wish they would fix, like the paper towel roll. It also would drop down too. I don't know if I needed to tighten something up, but the shelf would drop down. But for the most part, it does its job. Just the paper towel thing was the only annoying part about this. Let's move to the front of the trailer. I installed these heavy-duty coat hangers. I don't really like them right here. Maybe I need to put them higher, but I want to have this be kind of a drying area for boots, people to sit and warm up, because it's right in front of a diesel heater. I just had a lot of pit coats hanging on this and jackets and gear. You can see I have random stuff hanging on this right now. I might just move these higher, and that way the pit coats don't seem to be just like all the way to the ground and taking up a ton of space. I love having this set up here. It's right across from the door, so if I have anything hanging up in here, I can just walk right in, hang it up, take my boots off. I'd spend a lot of post-race time in this area, warming up next to the diesel heater and taking gear off. It's super nice too to not have to stuff everything into my bag. I wanted as modular of a setup as I could get. My wife, she got me this awesome Craftsman for the house to have all my tools in, and I ended up moving it into the trailer. My parents got me an awesome gift, the Tough System from DeWalt. It's got 4 shelves in it, and these are like 2 different units, and then there's a base, and then just kind of like a toolbox, which actually I keep a lot of my carbides in. It's all here at the front with an E-track. Just because these are heavy, I like to put them near the tongue as per recommended by the manufacturers. When you're hauling stuff, you want as much weight to the tongue as possible. I store them here, but then I like how modular they are to move them more towards the back at race location. This is where I'll have that table set up. The depth of the table is perfect for the space here, so it's not impeding the door, and it's super convenient having the space underneath and being able to have food laid out and whatnot. I installed these like cool RV foldable tables. I have 2 more of them. It was taking up a lot of space having like charging equipment and a lot of accessories sitting on the table. And so I got these little fold-out tables right above the power strip, So I'd have phones and cameras and keys and whatnot sitting on this. It's an absolute mess right now. Again, I'm not the most organized, especially during race season and clearly after race season. These things have been super convenient. I have one right behind the tough system here, and when I strap it, it kind of pushes against it, so I just empty it and flip it up. I think that's everything. If you saw something that I didn't dive into that you want me to go into more detail, leave it in the comments. If there's enough things that you saw that I missed, I'll just make a part 2. Oh. Thanks for watching this video. I will be making more videos on the trailer because, like I said to you in this video, I've got more upgrades I need to do to this thing. I've already done one by adding the electric jack, so I'm already off to a hot start. I'm gonna be washing this thing at some point. The side just being like dusty is aggravating me. Again, I'm not an OCD person, but I want this thing to be clean, and now is a great time to do it in the summer. Be sure to check out more videos in the Ride Ready series. I'll have plenty more to come. I really like talking about trailers. It's relatively new to me being an owner of one. I always have been operating out of my dad's trailers. We had a 24-foot by 7-foot trailer, really low ceilings. It had light. We ran a propane heater inside of it and just like opened the doors occasionally to ventilate it. But it was always cold, it was always dark, it was always cramped. It definitely made us tough racers. This is super bougie in comparison, but I'm honestly very thankful for this setup based on the awesome race setup my dad and I had when within the first 5 years of racing. So huge thanks to my dad for kind of giving me some good inspiration for things to upgrade for my trailer. I'll catch you guys in the next video. If you want to see more videos like this, check it out in the playlist here. And if you want to see my more recent video, check it out right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.